And now the 419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome into the 419. It's a Wellness Wednesday edition. The 419, of course, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management. I'm Kevin Mullen, alongside
Gretchen DeBacker.
Matt Killam.
We've got an exciting show for you. Like I said, it's Wellness Wednesday, presented by Workspring. And so we're going to be joined again by Paige Johnston with Workspring. We'll also have Reverend Willie Perryman on to talk to us about some of his own health journey. And of course, we will have fellow WGTE talent, and in this case, I mean it with a capital T.
She's an actual talent.
Riley Runnels
Right.
will be joining us as well.
Yeah, that's exciting.
What are we talking about this Wellness Wednesday?
So screenings and preventative maintenance, if you will, is certainly paramount, and I think it's something that we're all aware of. It is certainly something that we all buck simultaneously. But the reason why Gretchen and I wanted to make sure that we got this on the forefront is because we're very concerned about Kevin missing the show. For those of you that have tuned in, it's probably obvious that Kevin is the linchpin and the professional of not only transitions, and he has the actual radio and/or television voice.
Right.
So if he goes,
And he's watched TV. We don't know anything about what we're doing.
yeah. So we want to make sure that we keep you propped up, or at least figure out how to replace you with an AI.
So I need to be taking fierce notes.
This seriously,
Yes.
that's
During
right.
this, okay,
Yeah,
I
Paige
got
has
it.
become a friend and a friend of the show.
Before we go into it, do you believe you're on top of your screenings or
No.
behind?
No. I know that I'm behind.
Okay.
We've talked about this. With my own health journey, I just full admission. I think it's been now 2 or 3 years that the insurance company is like, hey, who's your primary care physician? And I had one, and then insurance changed, and I lost access to that primary care physician.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't replace them. And
Sure.
so I only see specialists and urgent care.
Yeah.
That is the extent of my healthcare journey, which is
Yeah.
not great. Like
Yeah.
I admittedly, if my mother's watching this, I see the primary care physician twice a year.
Okay.
But for everybody else,
Also,
I
this
do not.
lighting has made me concerned about both of your health,
Yeah.
to be perfectly honest. So I know everyone is the same. We talked about resolutions and the upsides and downsides to that, but we are all of a certain age, right? So having this be part of our lives is important. I also consistently do not tell my mother the truth about my my maintenance plan, if you will, and that's just from a health or a doctor perspective. A dentist is an entirely other ball of wax.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that one.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for a different show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's an easy thing to overlook, and I think, for me, and maybe this is me sort of justifying my own bad behavior,
Yeah.
right? But it's like, I'm worried about all of the
All
other
of it.
things, right?
Yeah.
And so it just becomes one more thing that, this is a far lesser extent, right? But when I get a haircut,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't schedule the next haircut, I'm going to be late for it.
Right.
Right? It's not going to happen on time.
But with your health
And
stuff, next thing you know, it's been a year,
That's right.
right? And then it's been 2, and then it's like, oh, wait, was I supposed to do that? Maybe I'm just talking about myself right now, but it's easy to
Probably.
let the time pass and miss those deadlines.
So we're going to be talking about that, and again, Reverend Willie Perryman has his own kind of health journey and health story that we'll talk a little bit about as well as I'm sure we'll dive into some of his great work in the community.
Absolutely.
And then, who knows where it's going to go with Riley Runnels. Anything is possible, but we're excited.
Hopefully it'll go
for it.
fast.
All right, it's a Wellness Wednesday edition presented by Workspring. Stay with us here on the 419.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, Toledo Public Schools, and veteran journalist Jerry Anderson, The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
Welcome back into the 419. It's Wellness Wednesday, presented by Workspring. And so we're joined by our good friend from Workspring, Paige Johnston. Paige, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, Paige, friend of the show, and certainly at this table, a much-needed voice of reason. We talked last time about a myriad of things, but I think the new year does bring about the idea of starting fresh. Or setting goals for yourself, things you aspire to. But there is certainly a preventative component of it and just a regular schedule of screenings, right? Those are things that are easily put off, and then it becomes 6 months to a year. Then it's almost a decade. I will spare you what we were talking about before the show. But some of us, myself included, had found that it had been 5 years to 10 years before having some sort of interaction with a healthcare professional, right? Which was maybe okay, although not a desirable approach in your 20s. But we have long since been looking at our 20s in the rear view. So how should this look? What do adults, which again is a flexible term, how should the people be looking at this? And what is the sort of all of the things that people should be putting on their calendars?
So there are a lot of screenings based on your age. So really making sure the first thing is getting that appointment with a primary care physician. And if you don't have one, it is really easy to find one. Most healthcare providers have a tool on their website where you can find providers in their network. So one thing with an employer is letting people know, hey, this is your insurance carrier, these are the benefits that are available to you, and this is what's covered at no cost to you. Because a lot of times one of the barriers is the cost.
Sure.
And people don't want to pay extra to go see a doctor and have all these medical bills because you went to get a well check.
Right.
So if you know what your benefits are and what's available to you, it makes it a lot easier to kind of seek out those screenings.
What age should people start thinking about regular screenings, right? I mean, everyone feels young forever, other than every
Don't look at me.
Sorry?
Don't you do that.
That's right. That was an accusatory stare.
No,
right,
it
Kevin.
is fine.
Kevin has terrible vision also, so he has no idea what happens on this side of the desk. So we'll get back to vision checkups in a second, but what age is you should start thinking about?
Well, when you think about it, when you have kids, you're going to a pediatrician on the regular, and you kind of have to do that with children because they're constantly growing. So the minute you turn 18 and you're not seeing necessarily a pediatrician anymore, it's really important to find like an adult primary care provider at that age. And then going from there, you have something set up with a provider. And a lot of times, I know you mentioned it earlier, you changed carriers and then they're out of network. So one good thing is going to your new carrier, getting on their website. Most carriers have like a find a provider tool where you type in, I'm in Toledo, Ohio, here's my zip code, and it'll give you providers that have actual appointments available, and it's very easy now. You just click on the link, it'll take you to available appointments, it'll give you their number, information to really make it seamless to find that provider. But employees don't know about that because it's not something a lot of employers are really pushing or talking about. So just bringing awareness to that is huge.
That's great advice. And I guess the litany of things from screenings, I mean, some of that depends on gender, things of that variety, but can you kind of walk us through? I mean, I'm almost 50. There's some certain things that have already been flagged based on my family history, candidly, which I'm more than comfortable talking about. But what are the spectrum of things to sort of be monitoring?
The biggest things is making sure you're getting any type of testing for your age. So if you're in your 50s, especially for men and women, like breast cancer screening awareness is huge. So even if you've had a history of breast cancer in your family, you can go to your primary care physician and say, hey, I am really just concerned about this being in my medical history with my family. I'd really like to keep an eye on this. And having that relationship where your doctor can order these tests that are medically necessary is important. Prostate cancer screenings are huge too. Colonoscopies are really big. And it's hard because there's also some association with age with those too, where people are like, oh, I don't want to get my colonoscopy or things because you've hit a certain age where you need it. It's really important to do it because without early detection, you're kind of putting things off, and then people are really at risk for even more chronic conditions, different cancers, and you're not getting ahead of it. It's really important to get ahead of things, which I know can be hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
We've talked about it on the podcast, my family's health journey. My father had a heart transplant 7.5 years ago. We've got a, multi-generation family history of heart disease. 4 years ago, last week, I actually got out of the hospital with my own
That was 4 years ago.
kind of diagnosis with heart issues. But I remember I was, fresh out of college. My dad was having some heart issues, and went to go see. I had, scheduled to go see a cardiologist and do a 24-hour Holter monitor test and all of these things. And I remember the conversation with my brother because I told him I was afraid of the test and I didn't want to go.
Sure.
I didn't want to do this. And my brother said something that, rarely does he say something intelligent.
Yeah.
But yes. But in this moment, he said, well, whether you go or not, the answer is the same. And so, whatever's happening is happening, whether your doctor tells you it's happening or not. And so there's really nothing to be afraid of there. Go get the information and use the information to make an informed decision and get the care you need.
And if you have something too and you're not seeing a doctor, you're not managing it. And then if you have a good relationship with the doctor and you're getting the tests and the things that they're recommending, then you have better management of whatever condition you may have. And you may have the opportunity to, especially if it's things with biometrics, you have the ability to somewhat change that with different lifestyle changes and those types of things. So it's really just having knowledge is power.
For those who may not know, biometrics is?
It's where you're actually getting a blood draw where you know what your cholesterol levels are, your blood pressure, BMI, waist circumference, just giving a baseline of where you are at your kind of health numbers of where you see. So you can do that in a variety of ways, whether it's with your primary care physician. Biometric screenings is a big one for companies, and then also there's a lot of labs that you could just walk into and get some of the testing done.
I guess to an individual, I understand the kind of the personal responsibility to schedule these things and do all this. From an employer's perspective, what role could they play, and where's that line where maybe they're going too far to say hey, I'm actually going to require you to do this?
So especially the work we do at Workspring, one of the things we do is work with employers a lot to put in the wellness programming and make sure that biometrics are kind of a requirement for a company just so employees know what they are kind of having and going through, a good baseline. So for an employer, it's not necessarily policing someone to go to the doctor, it's making sure they're aware of their benefits, and there's a communication piece to that. So it is an employer's responsibility to let people know, here's what's covered under your insurance, here's what's available to you, and here's how you can get those things. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of the Healthy Ohio Business Council.
No.
They are an
Does
organization.
it look like we're familiar with anything?
We are actually the executive committee of the
perfect.
That's right.
Business Council. We're screwed.
We meet. That's right. We meet in the Keebler tree. So the Keebler elves that make cookies.
That's funny.
I got it.
Please save the show.
They are an organization in the state of Ohio where they're actually giving different offerings for companies that are promoting these screenings and promoting wellness programs, and they give different levels of awarding. So this year, Workspring, we got a Platinum Award, and it's free to apply, and it just goes to show, hey, what types of things are you offering your employees? Do they know about the benefits? Are you promoting different screenings? There's a Cancer Screening Excellence Award as well that they do through the Healthy Ohio Business Council. It's free to just apply and get into these benefits that they have, and then your organization can kind of see where they lie against other organizations throughout the state.
Interesting.
Gives you a lot of different tips on things you can do and how you can help support employees in their health while not policing them necessarily.
This might be an unfair question, Paige, but what's your Social Security number? From state to state, does the philosophy vary? I mean, just something, I don't know, as silly as north and south I mean, what is, from state to state, how much is it the same and how different is it?
It's pretty similar in Ohio and Michigan at least. Indiana too, just because we're so close and all somewhat of a similar community, similar base style. So that's typically the same, and they have, it does tie back to like your insurance carriers and what type of like federal regulations are tied into the states, but most of it's pretty similar.
Sure.
You know, coming in, kind of zooming in even closer, just up within Ohio,
Yeah.
how different are you seeing things? Because Workspring isn't just a Northwest Ohio organization. You're working with businesses and employers across the state. Are you seeing differences in the way that, you know, Lucas County approaches this versus the Columbus area?
Yeah,
What the hell is wrong with Putnam County? I mean, they just...
It's all about access and what you have around you. So you'll see here in Lucas County, we have a lot of really great local resources available to us. And in some of the rural counties, they may not have access to the same thing. So just as an example, like having access to the metro parks here is huge, because there is one.
Tell us more about that.
There's one everywhere. There's just, and anyone can go. There's a lot of programs and things that you can interact with. But in Putnam County, Henry County, like some of the smaller counties here in Northwest Ohio, it is harder to have access to things because it's not as close-knit as others.
It seems like we have apps and online tools and things on our phones to help with management of all kinds of things today. Is there anything available to help people manage these appointments, find out what their bills are? I mean, I know a lot of people have the apps where they can look in what is it, My Chart, but to help figure out, like, this is the date, this is the time, this is the next thing I'm supposed to do, figure out what their screenings are. And then also they might be managing for kids. And
It's big. The biggest thing depends on who your primary care provider is, and like My Chart is a great example. So if you have an organization that you're going to for your primary care and they use My Chart, you can go in there and you can manage all of your children's appointments. It'll send you calendar notifications. You can set up a lot of different permissions to remind you. Or like, for example, if I didn't schedule my Well Woman exam in necessarily the right amount of time last year, so I kept getting notifications like, hey, you need to call and schedule this, which is nice because you do get just caught up in life and work and you forget. So if you have some of these reminders, and I know it can be frustrating to get them constantly, but it's really to help you get on that calendar and use that cadence.
I've never understood why, and maybe there's doctors out there that do this and offices that do, but I've never had a doctor's office that actually like took the lead on, hey, your insurance is going to pay us to do these 12 things with you this year. Let's get them all scheduled so that we, as a business, maximize the revenue we can get from your insurance company. Because I feel like they have just as much of an incentive for me to get these things as I do. And with the shifting way that healthcare is focused more on, you know, well care rather than sick care, there's a financial incentive for them to do this stuff as well.
It's such a good segue into from advocacy, right? I'm not a very good patient advocate. You know, I go in and I want to get out as soon as possible. If it goes left or right or center, I'm like, okay, I just want to go. But I think that to coattail off of that, can you talk a little bit about making a plan to that degree and making sure that, no, I need to get a prostate exam because it is in my family, and I'm not leaving here without having it scheduled or something like that. You need to take this by the reins, right?
And you need to do that. One of the biggest things you can do, and it is hard because you're kind of looking at your provider for guidance of what do I need, what types of things can I have. One nice thing about the My Chart, and I do it a lot with my PCP, is I'll message her and say, hey, I know I am at this age, I need to make sure I have certain screenings, I'd like to get some different things done. And they'll message you back and give you suggestions, but it does depend on the provider. And that's a huge factor. So one of the big things that we can do is just setting up different, like, just looking at your health, making it a priority to look at, okay, I'm 40, I need these things at this age. I'm 50, I need these things. It is more on the individual, unfortunately, just because a provider works with a bunch of different insurance companies. They work with the state. They work with a lot of different things where they're not really able, I think, to take that on in a way, and that's why you somewhat do have to be your own health advocate.
Right, sure.
But
which is
also,
hard to do.
It's hard.
Yeah.
As an employer, it's really important for you as well to be releasing this information, and that's something that there's a lot of different wellness companies out there. There's a lot of free apps and things. One thing we try to do is here are the things that you need for these ages, and just have it as a community resource. So that way people know, okay, you don't necessarily have to be in the Workspring Wellness Program. We just want this information out there, because if you don't know where to even find the basic information from a reputable source, it's hard to know where to start.
Where would somebody find that information?
We have a Workspring Wellness, like on our website, we'll be able to have information about different things that we can do for organizations, and that's something we can help with. The Healthy Ohio Business Council is another one too. They have a whole list of recommended screenings, and then too, it's a free membership there too to sign up and join.
That's good.
That's really helpful.
I'm writing that down.
And the website is workspring.org.
Yes.
Walker Funeral Home is what you should write down.
Do you guys, like, I don't know, this is maybe, I'm looking to justify my own bad behavior. Do you guys even know your blood type?
University.
I don't have one.
Okay.
No,
Perfect.
the answer is no. We don't.
Yeah, like I mean, I just think like some of those things that are like just basic that like when I go to the doctor and they ask me these like family history questions and like I mean I struggle when somebody asks me how old I am. I've got to like let me think about this.
Yeah.
And so I certainly appreciate kind of the reminder to keep this as a priority. Paige Johnston with Workspring, thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for having me.
And of course, thanks to Workspring for their support of Wellness Wednesday here on the 419. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Reverend Willie Perryman. It's the 419.
To me, community means connecting to others.
What will it really take to bring peace to Toledo's neighborhoods?
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
It's all chapters in a book.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the Old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Brings back memories that you don't think are there, you know.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
The people of Toledo have really become family. You know, they walk in and it's just like, hey, it's so good to see you.
Hello there and welcome to a WGTE Public Media Town Hall meeting.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
I love PBS Kids.
Welcome back into the 419. It's a Wellness Wednesday edition presented by Workspring. We're joined now by the Reverend Willie Perryman. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for the invitation. Just wonderful to be here.
Happy New Year.
We've been talking about screenings and kind of just, you know, preventative healthcare maintenance. And I know that you've got kind of your own, as we all do, right, our own sort of history and journey through this. But we appreciate your willingness to come on and share some of that story.
Right. So
it's my segment, Reverend, so I get to to talk first. So we could do an entire program about your advocacy in many different ways. I certainly want to touch on some of that today. But today on Wellness Wednesday, I'm certainly proud to call you a friend, but I'm even more proud and by no means surprised that you are an advocate for screening.
Yes.
Right. So this isn't just a healthcare component. I do want to get you kicked off and talking about that, but there's a racial component to this that people need to be educated, and it's certainly something that you care about. You and I have lunch with some regularity, and there have been people who have passed by our table. And you mentioned to young African American men. So to tee it up, though, talk to me a little bit about healthcare screening, its role in your life, both positively and negatively.
Yeah. So screening is important. Screening literally is life-changing. In my own journey, I was doing regular screenings, and nothing abnormal showed up. But I continued on that journey of screening just to make sure, because I had been working with some groups around the state of Ohio, African American Wellness Walk in Toledo and Columbus and Cleveland, and just wanted to make sure that my community was aware of how important it was. And so I was doing my normal journey, my normal grind, and no problems. Then all of a sudden, I started having just a few what I would call minor issues that did not appear to be anything special. I was doing regular screenings, regular blood tests, and then I started having just a few more little bad symptoms. And I said, I need to take it a step further. And so I did a little further testing, and wow, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was life-changing, literally. My physicians that were caring for me said, we got 2 weeks to start some treatment, or else you won't make it.
Wow.
And for folks that aren't familiar with your story, what was that diagnosis?
I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, October 23rd, 2023. I was went right into chemotherapy infusion, chemotherapy 3 weeks later. I went through 6 very aggressive treatment, chemotherapy treatment. Following that, I had to go through 21 radiation treatment, and and I came out pretty good so far. Still have some challenges as a result of the treatment.
And you were getting regular screenings.
Yeah,
It's an annual.
You
were sort of on it.
I was on it. I was getting.
Yes, sir.
I was getting regular annual screenings, specifically around the blood testing. But then some symptoms showed up, even though I was doing that. The numbers didn't say that, and so I went to a little further investigation.
Sure.
You say examination, and the second examination did not look good, and so we did some further blood tests. Then had to do MRI, PET scans, and wow, it's there.
Was there a family history that had you doing this regular screening? Was this you were doing this because of some of your advocacy work?
Yes, I was doing it because some of the work I was doing around the community. I wanted to make sure that African American males, as we know, prostate cancer is a very high risk in our community and with our genetics. So I was just doing the work. I just wanted to be a voice to make sure, hey, man, let's stay healthy. Let's stay healthy. And then all of a sudden I had some symptoms, I said, but no generic issues. I found out right in the middle of my treatment, I had a younger brother who was diagnosed immediately after I was. But we both did genetic testing. I've got 2 other brothers. There has been no symptoms, so they're in good shape so far. I had an older brother who passed away from another type of disease, was not cancer related, but no genetics. It just showed up.
Was it your diagnosis that sent your brother in for further testing?
No.
Okay.
He had his own little minor issues.
Sure.
And he said, I'm gonna go get checked out. I says, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, we were just talking with Paige about advocating for yourself, right?
Yes.
So, and often it's easy to set aside these symptoms that we see.
Or self-diagnose.
Right, or say,
Yes.
I must have done this, or this must be something else. But you obviously paid attention to that.
I did. I paid attention to it because I did some research. I was doing that kind of work for our community. I wanted to make sure I was educated on it. And so some of my education that I gathered from it, I seen some symptoms. And so I wanted to be really transparent, not only with myself, but with my family.
Sure.
And with my work at the church, because I found out even through treatment, it affected my family, it affected my church, it affected my community involvement,
right.
It affected my employment, and so consequently, I I'm even more so now determined to make sure that African American men not only get screened, but screened annually.
Can you talk a little bit more about those support systems, your church, your family, your work, when you were going through all these treatments?
So my wife is a champion.
Yeah.
She was a champion. And chemotherapy, and I had a very aggressive treatment of chemotherapy. I mean, I would have chemotherapy one day, and for the next 9 days, I was just down.
It's poison.
Poison.
Right.
My challenge was that the cancer did spread beyond my prostate sac into other parts of my body. I was blessed that it did not go into any of my organs. And so, yes, my wife was a champion. She literally had to physically get me up and bathe me. My church was so supportive because I was not able to do some of those duties that I was accustomed to. I had a great cleric staff, great administrative staff to kind of keep things going while I was there, but I wasn't there. And then my community partners, people who I worked in the community with different projects and different boards and organizations, they really understood, and I was able to share with them, and consequently they were able to share my story with others.
You're a person of faith, right?
Yes.
Faith's a big part of your life.
Yep. Yes.
I'm just, I can't imagine, hearing the C word from a doctor.
Yep.
How quickly did you fall back on faith? How, what was that journey?
So initially when I was diagnosed, and my wife had been going to the doctor with me all of my appointments, this one appointment she could not make.
Oh my goodness.
And so I was diagnosed.
So you blame her?
No.
wise man.
And so I got to see news by myself.
Oh.
That was traumatic. And so I had to drive all the way from Maumee to home. And I was on the phone and I told her, so I got to talk to you. Talk to me about what? And she says, something's wrong with you. I says, yeah, that's bad news. And I've got like 2 weeks to get started on this, or else we're going to be in trouble.
If you hadn't been doing the regular screenings, I mean, have you?
Well,
I hate to walk down that road, right?
So it's hard to say because I've done a lot of education on it now. Talk with my urologist, my oncologist. There's so much data out there now, okay? And so, believe it or not, testing really is not a high priority with medical professionals for a number of reasons. They can test 500,000 men, and maybe only 2% or 3% of those men that they tested is not diagnosed. At some point, the data says, do we continue to test all of these people without any results? And so the data says that the medical professionals are doing less testing. So you got to do more personal, individual examinations, those type of things.
I think it speaks to that conversation we were having about like this, isn't a priority for the doctors, but it needs to be a priority for us.
You.
Yes, absolutely. It's got to be a priority.
You have to be an advocate for yourself.
You got to be an advocate for yourself. You got to know what to look for. You got to kind of sense out some symptoms. And in prostate cancer, those symptoms are not very noticeable. They're not visible. It just sneaks up on you, and if it grabs you, and I would tell all men, all men, specifically African American men, make sure that you get as many opinions as you can. Develop a relationship with the medical professionals. And sometimes I get a little emotional about this.
Of course.
Because I've lost 4 African American men in the last year that I was pretty close with and I was diagnosed before them. And so consequently, and every case is different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, okay, I got prostate cancer, and this is how we're going to treat it. It doesn't work that way. It depends on your own DNA, your own genetics, and there's several ways of treating it. You just pray and pray that the treatment that your medical professionals have selected for you is the right treatment.
Right.
So there is there's a diagnosis, and then there is a plan with a medical professional or professionals. But one of the most challenging things to me in all things is sort of the muscle between your ears.
Yes.
So talk to me about your support group. You are a man of the people, the community. You know, a lot of people depend on you for all sorts of things. So being away from that, or not being able to be as available as you want to be or accustomed to, all of that goes into the blender, the things you're dealing with. Can you walk us through?
Yeah, all of that. All of that goes into that.
You need support. It can't be you alone.
Yeah, all that goes into that. I really leaned and depend on my family and my faith leaders and my church family. I literally, for my own cycle, kind of put some of the community stuff on the back burner.
Sure.
In fact, when I was diagnosed, I was the president of the local chapter of the NAACP. And we're going right into the Freedom Fund, our biggest fundraiser of the year. It's a lot of work. We bring a lot of people together. And immediately I got diagnosed like that Thursday, and the Freedom Fund dinner was like that Saturday.
Oh my goodness.
And I had to walk around kind of masking, I'm doing great. But only me and my wife had that secret. And then immediately after, I had to immediately go into a transition, what's going to happen over the course of the next 6 months. And so consequently, I chose to not seek the re-election of the presidency, because I had to concentrate on myself.
Sure.
I had to think about.
Give yourself permission to do that.
Yeah, I had to think about, what was priority: family, church. I have 3 children, 4 grandchildren, and you got to kind of prioritize things.
We could. I mean, I think we've got another hour of conversation that we could have with you.
Yeah, right.
WGT won't let us do that. So. But as we close out this segment, what's the message that you want folks in the community to take from your story and your journey?
From my story, have a good relationship with your medical professionals. Whatever your diagnosis is, whatever your health challenge is, whatever that is, have a good relationship, communication with your medical professional, and always do all of your screenings, all of your blood tests, all of your examinations. Do not hide behind any health issue. Stay out in front of it as much as you can.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Matt and I have had this conversation that extroverts kind of feel this additional burden of bringing people along with our health journeys and our personal stuff to make the community better.
I mean, this guy has some good conversations.
Yeah. But we appreciate your willingness to do that, the continued advocacy. You do such incredible work in the community. I hope you'll come back on the program.
I certainly will.
And we can talk more about some of that exciting and happy stuff too.
Yeah.
So,
thank you.
Reverend Willie Perryman, thank you so much. When we come back here on the 419, Riley Runnels, a fellow host, talent, local celebrity, all of the things, is going to join us here on the 419. We'll be right back.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
Workspring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. Workspring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness, because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And TARTA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarta.com.
Welcome back to the 419. We're talking now with WGTE's own Riley Runnels. Riley, I know we've had you on the podcast, but
Yes.
your first time here on the 419. Welcome.
I know, and man, look at the new digs. You guys are moving on up.
How about it?
I love it.
We talked about in the break, kind of before you coming on, we got some incredible gifts from some of our favorite people. One of them being the pink boa.
The iconic pink boa, yes.
From your mom, Chris Peterson.
And she was so excited to give that to you
Aw.
guys. I said, I can't believe you're giving up your
I couldn't
staple
I couldn't either.
for the race.
Yeah.
She said, it's okay, I'll get a new one. They can have the original.
She pulled it out of the bag, and I was like, that can't be what that is.
I know.
We just got done cleaning up the feathers
Oh, wow,
of that
yeah.
from 30 days ago.
Are you upset at all that she likes us more than she likes you?
No, only because I like you more than I like her. So it's even. It's totally fine.
That is the hard-hitting, in-depth interviewing
Heard it here
people.
first.
Yes,
Yeah.
right, and the 419.
So you're, obviously you're from a degree standpoint, studied journalism at Ohio University, somewhat following in the footsteps of your mother.
Yes.
But paving your own path, certainly.
Yeah, she definitely was more on the broadcast side of things, whereas I focused more on print and magazine journalism.
A growth industry.
Yes, absolutely. Really career stability. That's what I was going for.
Yeah, Gretchen did VCR repair.
No, genuinely. Funny enough, I was going to study musical theater, and then I chose journalism because it felt more stable. So, haha.
Yeah.
But
it is.
I made the
Yes.
same joke to my parents when I was going away to college. They were like, "What do you want to study?" I was like, "Musical theater." And I remember my dad saying something, and he denies this to this day, but something to the effect
you're his
of,
son.
He's like,
you
"Get out of
will
the
not get a degree in unemployment.
Yeah,
And I was
right.
like, joke's on you, my degree's in communications.
Yeah, 100%. It's nice that that has so many transferable skills that I've been able to use. I mean, out of college, I was the editor of the Toledo City paper for 2 years, and then I went from that role into Epic Toledo with the Toledo Chamber of Commerce. And it's been really interesting to see how the editor of a magazine can kind of transfer then to running a young professionals group and some of that leadership development, the teaching, networking, and communication skills, because I think a lot of those skills are things that, with COVID especially, people are lacking in some of that practice.
Now with Epic, you just, I believe, kicked off the mentorship program for 2026. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I really wanted to find a project that was my own when I came into the role. Obviously, Epic has been around for a couple, almost 2 decades. And so I wanted to have a project that was kind of putting my own stamp on the program. And I created this mentor program, which the framework was already in existence, and then I took it and kind of ran with it. We have 4 mentors that mentor 4 to 5 mentees each, and it's over from April to July. They have individual meetings, they have group meetings, they do on-site visits at the mentors' work so that they can kind of see a day in their life. It's a really incredible program, not only for these mentees to be connected with opportunity, but also they have somebody who's built into the community that is an advocate for them.
That's such a good idea.
Thank
And
you.
I'm wisely not choosing the 3 of us to be part of that program.
Right, right.
Yeah,
No.
that just
She's
shows-
like, no.
that
You
just-
agreed.
Yeah.
You agreed way too quickly. with
No,
that there, Riley.
you guys
But
guys definitely are on my short list for lots of epic things.
Yeah, I have.
very diplomatic.
Yeah,
certainly.
It's a very short list.
Yeah.
I have done been a part of a number of mentor programs. I've never done like in a group session like that where
like
there's
that.
1 mentor, 4 mentees. I kind of like that idea because oftentimes it feels like, at least when I've been paired with professionals or I've had young professionals paired with me, there feels like this somewhat of like a status barrier that I think when you bring 4 young professionals, some of that imposter syndrome.
We try to provide kind of a soft networking opportunity first for them to break a little bit of that ice. And that's kind of the whole Epic motto, is we provide these networking opportunities where we are breaking the ice for you so that it's not as intimidating as some of the other opportunities. But essentially with our mentor program, it's just been really amazing to see our mentees connect with these different generations. And in that first meeting, you're seeing how they they all kind of build off of each other's ideas and goal setting. And, you know, some person might say, I want to get better at this skill. And then another person says, oh, I didn't even think of that. I want to work on this too. So it's really nice to see that transfer of ideas. But it's a big part of the EPIC mission to kind of connect generations. I mean, we are geared toward young professionals, but we want those young professionals to feel comfortable advocating for themselves to different generations, and then feeling confident to approach people that are not within the young professional landscape. And I think that's something too that reflects in my work with WGTE, with On the Come Up, which is the podcast I do through the Voices Around Us project. And we work really hard to connect young professionals on our show to different generations through what we're topically covering with, you know, their education component.
So what's On the Come Up? What is that? What is, when you think about that title, what does that mean to you? Who is that person?
Yeah, so I mean, we see it, to me, that's just all of our young professionals in Toledo. I mean, we see, and I know you all see it too, the hustle in our young people here, working day and night, trying to get out into the community, make a name for themselves, and better yet, change our community for the better. I mean, they are obviously want to have some sort of status or some sort of fulfilling job for themselves, but it's always really geared toward making Toledo a better place. And so we have individuals, my co-host Libby Cassidy and I, we have individuals on our podcast who are either in an industry where they're doing huge things, like a former guest of yours as well, Isabella Wyke. We have her on to talk about, you know, she's the CEO and president of her own company, and she's our same age, 25. And then we have people who, you know, were laid off from a career job, and now they're completely changing what they're doing, and their entire life path looks different. So every young professional, we are all at kind of a same age range, completely different phases of life. And I think you can really glean a lot no matter what generation you're in. We want young professionals to hear this advice and run with it and take it, but, you know, other generations as well.
Why are you doing this? I mean, of all the things you could spend with your time, right? Why is this show, this podcast important to you?
Well, I mean, to me, let me ask you guys this. Isn't it so fun to do a podcast with your best friends?
No.
That also, okay,
Yeah.
Matt,
If I only
thank
could
you.
do, if I only could do that.
If I could get them here, yeah.
But it
No,
is.
it is. It
You
is
guys,
fun.
you guys are, as much as you joke, close friends outside of this show, and it's really fun, obviously, to do that with somebody that you're close with and friends with. But then the education component of it as well. I mean, there's nothing better than feeling like you've impacted someone from a story that you've told. It's why I studied journalism. I'm so people motivated, and I really want everyone to experience the walks of life that they might not get to experience in their day-to-day.
I think one thing that you mentioned certainly resonates with me. If nothing else, it's also important for everyone, I guess almost indiscriminate of their age, to know that it is a long journey, your professional career, right? So there are some people who hit the ground running immediately, or they're a rarity, but there are certainly people who know what they are going, they have a calling to do something.
Right. Yeah.
But that's a rare thing, right? So you'll catch up, people will go ahead, you know, there is comfort in the fact that we're all in this journey together. Your career is a path, right? So my first job out of college was I was a busboy, and my parents were of course thrilled, and I was embarrassed, right? I didn't know what direction I really wanted to go in, and I thought people were like, I'm failing here, but that's not the case, right? That is there is comfort in that education, and the reality that many people are in different phases. So I think that's certainly a real value for people to commune together about that. But you talked a little bit about networking. That is an integral part even in today's day and age. Some tips as fundamental as you think they may be. You are a very charismatic person naturally, but that just is written here for me to say to you. What tips for young people or of any age? What are just some things that are good lessons to be learned when you're connecting with others?
Yeah, I mean, first, the biggest one to me is approachability, making yourself approachable. So if you're at a networking event, you're not sitting kind of slouched in the corner, arms crossed, like looking like you don't want to talk to people. Because there are other people, if you are an introvert, there are people who are extroverted who will approach you and who will kind of take some of that onus off of you to do the hard work in that. And I think always going into a networking event with a goal in mind, saying to yourself, like, I really want to meet somebody from this industry, or I really want to meet 3 people today and have 3 new business cards or 3 new contacts. That's really key, I think, to going into a networking event.
Sure. What was your goal coming in this morning?
To have fun, to see my faves.
Yeah.
Because I just love you guys.
Well, I hope that you get to do both of those things at some point. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
So
When
you.
can people? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh my God, see?
Yeah.
Yep, one less
My
friend.
goal is to ask you when we can hear your podcast, when and where.
Yeah, so we usually release every other Tuesday.
That's the way to do it. Once a week.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So we have our link that we always say at the end of our episode as well, wgte.org/comeup. Or
Okay.
wherever you stream your podcasts.
I love it.
So you can check us out anywhere that you stream podcasts. But really, I recommend not only checking out On the Come Up, but checking out Voices Around Us, the whole project. There are podcasts on there for everybody to listen to. I mean, there's things about medical importance. There's things about history of our region. There's, I mean, just absolutely anything that you could imagine within Voices Around Us. And it's exactly as it sounds. It's the voices around us in our region telling our story. And there's nothing more powerful than that.
There's a push, obviously, for choose local, right? You think about
Yes.
that from a retail standpoint. I think about that from a restaurant standpoint. But I also think that there's an important component of that from a media standpoint as well.
Of course.
That when you're looking at killing time on a road trip, and you could choose you're going to go choose a podcast.
Yeah.
Choose a local podcast, right?
100%.
And I think that the Voices Around Us is a great opportunity with a phenomenally diverse offering.
Right,
Of
and
programs.
especially in this tumultuous time for journalism as an industry, where we don't know really who we can trust and what outlets are putting out what information. Having such strong local journalism has never been more important than it is
Exactly.
right now.
Yep.
It's always important, but never than right now.
Speaking of local journalism, the rapid fire questions, it's time.
It's time.
Ooh, I'm
It's
scared,
time
you guys.
for
Gretchen's
wacky quiz. I thought you were going to do that with me, Matt.
Yeah.
I thought we were
Really, we need to workshop it.
Okay.
Yeah.
ready. 1, 2. I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. I'm going to ask you 4 rapid fire questions. Gretchen's going to ask you for your favorite thing in the region. Matt is going to ask you to
Medical history.
Yep.
Yes,
3.
social security number, understood.
Perfect. All right. What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Yes.
What's the kindest thing that you have seen?
Oh.
Actually, it's a story about my mom. She taught me growing up that no matter what was going on in my life or how down I was, that if I saw someone who was in need on just local streets or when we were out of town, if they needed food or money, to give them anything that we had. So I always, especially with our Toledo Streets newspaper,
Yeah.
give some money to them when I
That's
see
nice.
them.
What's your go-to movie when you need a mood boost?
Holiday.
Oh.
It's on Netflix. It's not cinema, but it's fabulous and very fun. It makes
my
me happy
God, I've
every
never
time I
heard
watch
of it.
it. Holiday.
My wife is obsessed with the terrible Hallmark
No
type
offense.
Christmas movies.
No, it is terrible.
No,
it really is. It's not at all cinema, but it's
No.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we watch it almost every year.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Classic.
Yeah. All right, here we go. What is the most ridiculous thing your parents ever did to embarrass you?
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh. That's such a tough question. I would say making me sing "Take Me Out to the Ball" game at a minor league Sky Sox game for the Rockies organization when my dad was coaching there.
That's the worst.
That'll do it.
And then they were filming it. My dad was so just embarrassed, and the whole thing was very stressful. So
That's a whole podcast in and of itself.
Yeah.
Number one best thing, favorite thing about the region?
you're gonna say it's a cop-out answer, but it is the people here and the opportunities that they bring to our region.
You'd be surprised how many people say that. It's
9
great.
things.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's right.
It's fabulous. 9 words to describe Toledo.
Yep.
Okay. Big city opportunities with small town charm and friendliness.
Nailed it. How about it? Yep.
Wow.
That's going to go viral.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's
Thank
how
you.
it's done.
right.
Thank you very much.
Riley, thank you so much.
You're the best. We
One
love
more
you.
time, tell us again name of the podcast and where people can find it.
Yes, on the Come Up, wgte.org/comeup, or wherever you stream your podcast.
And sing us out in the national anthem.
Oh, say
Nope, that'll do it. All right. Yep, that'll wrap up the show. And, when you come back, Riley's going to be the official host of the 419th.
It'll be the best show ever.
All right, when we come back, we'll wrap up this Wellness Wednesday edition of the 419. If you missed any part of the show, of course, we've got tons of opportunities to find it, and you can find our show online at wgte.org/live. the 419. Riley, thank you so much. We appreciate you, appreciate your family. Thanks for letting us borrow your mom from time to time as well.
Oh, of course. And the work you guys are doing is so important. Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back on the 419.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your childhood was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertained, informed, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, Toledo Public Schools, and veteran journalist Jerry Anderson. The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
Welcome back into the 419. It's a Wellness Wednesday edition here on the 419, powered by WGTE.
Gretchen's files are open. the vault is
to open it at
cracked.
the end of the show.
That's
Can we talk about your note-taking system here, Matt? Because I feel like
Yes, we can.
for the folks that enjoy the show on YouTube and on WGTE Connects, channel 30.4, that they're watching the video, from time to time they will see you reach down and just put a little line on your paper.
Is this your manifesto?
Can you tell us what that means?
Yeah, so for those of you who enjoy the show, you're probably already incarcerated or have some mental defect anyway. So this will be right in your wheelhouse. Every time I want to say something awful to Gretchen or something that might infringe on FCC violations, I make one slash on my paper. Or actually almost any time Gretchen asks her question.
And every time I speak.
Yeah, that's right.
Write it.
So I just draw a line, and today is Light Day.
Yeah, they progressively have gotten larger. So it started as just a small little line, and now it is,
It's bad.
20% of the page is an aggressive line.
Sure.
We're going to send him off to be studied by a team of psychiatrists and see what we can come up with.
Sure.
Perfect. That'll be a quick study.
Yeah.
Exciting conversation today. Obviously, a heavy conversation.
Absolutely.
With Reverend Perryman.
A rare cogent show for us. What I mean by that is there's a lot of exciting things that we like to talk about, and sometimes they fit in order. From Workspring to our friend and certainly community advocate Reverend Perryman. So that's like a real-time, real-action thing. And he was, to my standards, a rarity. He was actually on it. And that still happened. So my anecdote about him is a truthful one. He and I have lunch regularly, and he will stop, or as people walk by, he'll ask them if they've had screenings done. So that is what wellness is about, right? We're not healthcare professionals, and we're learning the ropes of proper interviewing, but we can't emphasize this enough. We care about this community, and we want everyone to be well in all manners of well. So Reverend's a great man. I can't wait to have him come back and talk about the other advocacy work he does, and Riley Reynolds, although I'm not kind enough to pronounce her last name correctly.
Reynolds.
On the show, a bright light here, talking about all the great stuff that's going on at WGTE, and her story is an exciting one. Somebody who gets up every morning, I don't know when she sleeps, to plug in. So.
Well, when you look to the future of our community and you see leaders like Riley, like Isabella Wyke, I get excited about where things are going.
Agreed.
Exciting conversation. Thanks to Workspring for their support of Wellness Wednesday. Thanks to you for joining us. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch it 7 a.m. on WGTE's YouTube channel, 3 p.m. on FM 91, and 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects channel 30.4. Of course, all of the shows at WGTE.org/the419. It's the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.